This is a Brooklyn-bound 2 train. The next stop is Wall Street.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.
Welcome back. This is Not Your Advisor with NYU Grad on Thursday, November 7th. Let's jump right into today's session. I want to cover breadth. I want to cover NVIDIA for a second, Applovin, and we'll just go down the line. But we had a low volume melt up across the Qs today, made new lifetime highs finally. So we had 1,600 new highs on the NYSE versus 168 new lows. 62% of stocks were advancing versus 35% declining. 37% of stocks were below their 50-day and 33% below their 200-day moving average. The Dow closed marginally negative. I'm talking 59 cents. But the NASDAQ and S&P continued to rally into the afternoon as Jerome Powell spoke. All of the Mag 7 were green. Microsoft was up 1.25%. NVIDIA was up 2.25%. Apple was up 2.1%. Amazon was up 1.5%. Tesla was up 2.9%. Google was up 2.2%. And Meta was up 3.4%. And that's all that really matters. Looking at sectors, technology was up 2%. Communication services up 1.8%. Consumer cyclical up 1.39%. Basic materials up 1.1%, real estate up 1.04%, healthcare was up 0.7%, consumer defensive was up 0.36%, energy was up 0.3%, utilities were up 0.25%. The only red sectors were industrials and financials, which I thought was very curious because they were very bullish after the Trump election news. But they were down 1.25% today. That's something to watch. You cannot have a continued bull market if the financials start to roll over. It could just be a small pullback or profit taking for now, for all we know. One highlight I want to mention, Applovin was up 40+% today. Ticker symbol APP. And I want to remind folks that are new subscribers, either free or paid, that I was recommending Applovin back in January and February of this year in the mid-40s. That's correct, in the mid-40s. We are up, and I'll post the chart and the video clip, which is a replay of a podcast that I did back earlier this year talking about it. It wasn't the first time I talked about it. I was just walking through the mechanics of the trade in the 40s. And we are now up 457% from the outset when I started to talk about Applovin and this setup. I repeat, we are up 457% from the mid-40s. We closed above $240 today. So, yes, my Substack newsletter premium service is $325 annually. I know that is not on the cheap side, but my premium members are getting incredible value. Not just stock picks, because that's not what I do. I want to help teach folks how to see the markets the way I do through the auction market principle lens. And we're all learning together, to be quite honest. A lot of the paying members bring ideas to me to just vet, get a second set of eyes, or educate me on other areas of the market. And that's the whole point of building a community. This is only one of those setups that I shared. There are others that are actually up more than Applovin and some less. My safety stock, my leading safety stock is up over 30% from the beginning of this year. So if you have some time, consider it, read the testimonials. If you have questions, let me know. And the testimonial page has testimonials from paying subscribers. I'm going to post not only the clip of the replay, the charts, where we were at when I started to recommend it, where we are today, as well as a few of the earlier podcasts where I talk about it. But keep in mind, the content is locked behind the paywall. But it'll give you at least a flavor of the free side of the consistency of this newsletter and Substack. Let's keep going. That'll be my soapbox there. I want to cover what was strong and what was weak, but let's also take a look at what was carrying the markets. So here in the show notes, in the free section, I have the NASDAQ 100, the MAG 7, and their weighting, and what percentage gain they had today. I already covered how much they were up percentage-wise, but I just want to remind folks, Microsoft is 8.5% of the NASDAQ 100. Apple is 8.1% of the NASDAQ 100. NVIDIA is 7.6% of the NASDAQ 100. Amazon is 5.1% of the NASDAQ 100. Meta is 4.5% of the NASDAQ 100. Google Alphabet is 2.7% of the NASDAQ 100. Costco is 2.5% of the NASDAQ 100. Tesla is 2.3% of the NASDAQ 100. And Netflix is 2% of the NASDAQ 100. So these type of stocks are carrying the indices. And I've posted many times about the passive income, the passive investing setup in the market plumbing, where stocks only go up because of these companies, the buybacks, the employees' stock purchase plans or stock option plans. But this dance is going to end soon. Mark my words. And when it ends, I suspect it's going to end on Trump's head. It's not Trump's fault, okay? This goes back to the great financial crisis and all of the administrations that presided over it, all of the Fed heads and the Federal Reserve banking committees since the great financial crisis. This is going to implode, I would gather, before Trump's 4 terms are up. Most likely much sooner. Trump is going to take the blame. But it's not going to be just his fault. It's going to be partially his fault because he was also president prior. And speaking of this, looking at the NVIDIA chart, I'm going to go out on a limb and say we are closer to the end than the beginning of this roller coaster ride. And look, I made a pretty big profit on NVIDIA prior to the split. I purchased it at 33. That's pre-split. So that's $3 in today's price. And I sold early. I sold too early, but the gain was phenomenal. But obviously, it wasn't like 50,000%. But I believe this AI hype, AI productivity, all of the money that went into this is not yielding the ROI. And we might not see the ROI for decades. Just like when the .com started and people started to, sign up for AOL accounts, crappy dial-up connections, Netscape, when Amazon used to sell books, the markets crashed. And eventually, a lot of the fakers got sifted out, and then we had the real run. I suspect very similar thing to happen here with AI in the next downturn. Many names will go by the wayside, and you'll have a few winners. And I'm not saying NVIDIA is going to go out of business, but I'm just saying that I suspect we are going to go through a downdraft, and the winners will come out of it. And if it is NVIDIA will go to $1,000 again. But I don't think it's going to be a straight shot. NVIDIA's chart has a bearish negative divergence setting up. If you look at the price chart on the daily with the True Strength Index, if you see the True Strength Index roll over before making a new higher high, and then you see NVIDIA start to roll over, I'm going to call that potentially might be a near-term peak for NVIDIA and the AI craze. Let's see. Let's go over what was strong and what was weak. And this list is long on the upside, so bear with me here. Let's walk through each one. So in the S&P 500, we had Airbnb off of earnings up 15% today. EPAM Systems up 11.5%. VTRS up 13.8%. SMCI bouncing here up 11.6%. Discovery up 10.7%. McKesson up 9.9%. Vistra Energy up 7.6%. Fortinet up 2%. Take-Two Interactive 6.9%. Gilead 6.7%. Ralph Lauren 6.66%. Ansys 6.4%. Arista Networks 5%. Intel 4.8%, Estee Lauder's 4.7%, Expedia 8.2%, NRG 4.3%, Axon Enterprises up 18%. How did I miss that one? Decker's up 3%, Freeport McMoRan up 3.6%, CrowdStrike up 3.3%. And the NASDAQ 100, you had Airbnb again, SMCI again. Discovery was up 10.8%. Take-Two Interactive again. Gilead again. Ansys 6.4%. Trade Desk was actually down, so I'm going to put that in the down column. What was weak in the S&P? You had Match.com down 18.5%. APA Corp 11.3%. Akamai 8.71%. CBS down 7.3%. It was up yesterday, I believe. Rockwell Automation 5.7%, down. Becton Dickinson down 5.4%. Steris 5.2%. Corteva 5%. JP Morgan Chase 4.4%. Citizens Financials 4.7%. Enphase 4.3%. Discover 4.3%. Synchrony Financial 4.2%. KeyCorp 4.1%. Nucor Corp 3.9%. M&T Bank 3.9%. Steel Dynamics 3.9%. TransDigm 3.9%. Charter Communications 3.7%. DTE Energy 3.7%. Wells Fargo down 3.6%. Charles Schwab down 3.5%. Ameriprise Financials 3.4%. Regions Financials 3.4%. So, as you know, financials were up pretty heavy off of the Trump news, and now they're pulling back already. After a day, that's not great news. Free members, I'm going to urge you to continue to watch the forest and not the trees. We're going to the year end. You want to watch for breath. Don't try to be a hero and go YOLO long. I'm sure there's going to be things that are up 20% in the day, but they're going to be down 20% the next day. Just take a look at Lightbridge. Take a look at Oklo, the nuclear AI power stocks. They're up and down like 8 to 15, 20% every day. That is not trading. So I will see the free members after the Friday session. Premium members, please stay on so we can walk through some more charts. That's my train.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.